here's an interesting question, right? And I think we'll end it on this note, with your answer. Okay, so when I was first introduced to Andrew Tate, I don't know, like 6 months ago, maybe, it was the first time somebody brought his name up to me. They're like, it was a friend of mine. He's like, have you ever heard of Andrew Tate? And I was like, nah, who's Andrew Tate? No, 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 no. He asked me, he assumed that I knew who Andrew Tate was. And he was like, hey, you think this Andrew Tate guy is going to be the next Kevin Samuels? That's what he asked me. And I was like, who's Andrew Tate?
There was a lot of people saying that.
Well, but here's the thing, though. So I said, who's Andrew Tate? And then we go down the rabbit hole of that. So with that being said, right, because it's just my way of bringing Kevin Samuels into the equation or into the conversation right now. Does Andrew Tate exist in a alternate universe, where Kevin Samuels didn't die?
I mean, Andrew Tate already existed in a universe where Kevin Samuels didn't die.
But nobody cared.
Right.
So that's what I mean by that. As far as does he exist in that regards? Because when Kevin Samuels was alive, Andrew Tate was around, but nobody talked about him. Like, nobody cared. So does Kevin Samuels need to die in order for Andrew Tate to take off the way that he does? You think so?
I don't think so. I think that Andrew Tate may not have had as fast or as much of a trajectory, but I think that he would have still had like some degree of explosive growth, because like when it comes to that kind of content, when it comes to like particular people, it's kind of trendy. Somebody will be hot for a while, then they'll die down, then they'll be hot for a while, then they'll die down. Like, it's like a cycle. Like Fresh and Fit, they always have their really hot moments where like, everybody's talking about Fresh and Fit, and then it dies down. And Andrew Tate was, he was real cool with Fresh and Fit. And it's the same thing with Kevin Samuels. Like the difference between Kevin Samuels was that Kevin Samuels became like a standard, and like like people would compare their content of this variety to like the quality of what Kevin Samuels was giving. You know what I'm saying? Like Kevin Samuels was dressed real nice. He had a nice studio, real professional appearance. You know what I'm saying? Whether you agreed with his message or not, you know what I'm saying? He was very successful, and you could show that you could tell that he put a lot of pride into his product. You know what I'm saying? So like Kevin Samuels kind of got to a certain pinnacle, certain apex, and he never really came down. Yeah. Whereas other people were still like rising. You know what I'm saying? Like Kevin Samuels, like he shot up to the highest degree, and maybe might have fallen down a couple degrees, but still stayed at the highest degree, while everybody else he was what everybody was trying to aspire to be. His numbers, you know what I'm saying? His influence, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people, like, I mean, he got so many subscribers so quickly. You know what I mean? He was having conversations with celebrities. People would constantly quote him. They were constantly reacting and reusing his content. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that there's a lot of people like in this particular genre of content that have video clips that have been reused as much as Kevin Samuels. Like, people are still reacting to Kevin Samuels videos to this day. Andrew Tate, he's got the personality. He's kind of explosive. He says some controversial things and he doesn't hold back. But I don't think that he would surpass Kevin Samuels. I think that Kevin Samuels would be like where he is for quite some time. Even had he not passed away, I think he'd still be at that level that everybody is trying to get to. Because I mean, everybody was immediately saying when he passed away, like, who's going to replace Kevin Samuels? Who's going to replace Kevin Samuels? There hasn't really been anybody that's replaced Kevin Samuels.
Nobody's come even close to replacing him. That's what when you're talking about like hitting that, that is interesting. Like, he really hit like a godlike status almost instantly, where he became the standard for this kind of genre, for that side of the algorithm, that Andrew Tate is on as well. He's on that side of the algorithm, he became the standard. And like like I said, nobody's really even come close to hitting the heights that he hit. And that's what's so crazy. Like the creator in me, and we've talked about this. That's just what's so crazy about him all of a sudden dying like that. Because really think about this. He became the standard like that and hit godlike status like that while he was alive, and he hadn't even reached his peak yet.
Right.
He wasn't even there. He was still ascending. You know,
Yeah.
at the point of his random death, he was just now getting. You saw him in a music video with Future. Then he was in Atlanta. Well, the Future video came out before he died, right?
Right.
But like after he died, he had like 2 like mainstream situations come about like that we didn't know he had already filmed, like the Atlanta show with what's his name again from his rap name is Childish Gambino. What's his real name? Donald Glover, I think it is. Is that his name?
Know. I know you're talking about the Childish Gambino though.
Yeah, but that's not his real name though. But you know, the brother from Atlanta,
like show Atlanta,
his show Atlanta. Like he was on, like that episode came out like right after Kevin Samuels died. You know, you saw him with Nicki Minaj, you saw him with Future. We didn't see his peak. He just broke through to the mainstream.
And he was being mentioned all over the place too. Like people would just casually mention him. You know, like I mean, bigger podcasts like No Jumper and Joe Buttons. You know what I'm saying? Like he was being mentioned all the time. And I mean, it's almost like that whole phenomenon of like when the Emperor and Darth Vader got killed. It's like like I shall be more powerful than death. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, now you got the Democrats on MSNBC mentioning him, and he's passed away.
Yeah, mentioning him in a disparaging way as if he's somebody that's not worth listening to.
As if he even talked about politics is most of his content. Like his content concentration. I mean, he would say his few little political things here and there, but his content wasn't mainly based in politics. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it wasn't based in politics at all, and even in death, like that's wild. In death, he's still a threat. He's still a problem. He's still somebody that people are talking about as if he's alive,
Right.
And the guy's been dead for what, 3-4 months now, but MSNBC is bringing him up in a disparaging way to convince other people, to convince Black people to stop listening to him. Really think about that. He's dead. Guy's been dead for like at least 3 months now. And mainstream media is trying to tell you don't listen to Kevin Samuels.
We should ask them people who messing with Kanye what it really happened to Kevin Samuels. They probably own the hotel or the apartment building. Was it an apartment building? He was at his own home when that happened.
Yeah, at his luxury apartment complex or whatever.
All that gentrification going on down there in Atlanta. They own part of that building. Sure, they got security cameras all over the place, even in places where they're not supposed to be.
But those are the unmentionables. You can't speak their name.
Right.
We can't speak their name. We have to pretend like they don't own, run, and control media, and that they don't own the banks and property everywhere and everything. Like,
you'll be sentenced like Kanye is to a lifetime of takeout with places that accept Bitcoin.